Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. I don't know about all of you, but every year when January rolls around,
Yeah.
I always kind of get this urge to just like hit the reset button, get a fresh start.
Totally.
And so I think that's maybe why this next piece of source material really caught my attention.
Yeah.
It's all about like starting the year off strong,
Okay.
but it definitely comes at it from a bit of a spiritual angle.
Interesting.
But before anyone listening hits the stop button,
Yeah.
like, oh, that's not for me,
Right.
just trust me on this one.
Okay.
I think there's some really valuable insights here for everyone, no matter what you believe or don't believe.
I think that's a good point.
So, yeah.
Because even if you set aside, you know, the explicitly religious parts of it,
Right.
it's still really about something we all struggle with, like how to find something to hold on to when everything feels so uncertain.
I like that.
Yeah.
Find your anchor. All right. So, I guess the core message of this source material seems to be about putting God at the center of your plans and decisions.
Okay.
I mean, obviously someone could take that literally, but I'm kind of thinking about it more like metaphorically,
Yeah.
what's the deeper idea there?
Yeah, and I think that's a really helpful way to look at it because
Yeah.
when you reframe it that way, it really becomes about finding something bigger than yourself.
Right.
Something to ground you.
Yeah, and maybe something bigger than all the little worries and anxieties that we all deal with every day.
Absolutely. It's like finding that solid foundation.
Okay, so this source also talks about avoiding fleeting solutions.
That's interesting.
And I thought that was such an interesting phrase.
Yeah. What do you think that looks like in our day-to-day lives?
Oh, man, that's
Right.
like almost too easy.
Yeah.
Like how many times have I, had a long day and I'm like, I deserve this giant bowl of ice cream, even though I know I should be eating healthier.
Right. Or like mindlessly scrolling through social media for hours when you have a million things on your to-do list.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's that instant gratification that ultimately leaves you feeling even more depleted.
Yeah, totally. Or like maybe retail therapy.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
Buying things you don't need just to feel better for like 5 minutes.
Exactly. And all of that is kind of the opposite of what this source is encouraging.
Just so true.
Which is about finding lasting solutions that address the root of the problem.
Okay, so speaking of things that feel good, there's this really amazing quote that I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
It's from the book of Jeremiah.
Okay.
It's Jeremiah 29.11. And it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future."
That's a beautiful quote.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also like, is that just wishful thinking?
Right.
Or is there actually something practical we can take away from that?
Well, I mean, there's actually a lot of research out there about the power of positive thinking.
Really?
Yeah. And like the concept of self-fulfilling prophecies.
Interesting.
So when you focus on what you want to achieve on that positive future, you're actually more likely to make choices that support that goal.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's not about ignoring potential obstacles, but rather about approaching them with a can-do attitude,
Right.
which often leads to better outcomes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Instead of fearing the worst, you're focusing on the best possible outcome.
Exactly.
Okay, so to get there, though, to achieve anything worthwhile, it takes a lot of trust, right?
Absolutely.
This source talks a lot about trust in God, but I think it's fair to ask,
Yeah.
what does that even mean?
Right.
Like, how do we actually cultivate trust, not just in some higher power, but in ourselves and in our relationships?
That's such a great question. And I think at its core, trust is really about vulnerability. It's about believing that someone or something has your best interests at heart,
Yeah.
even when you don't have all the answers.
Right.
Now, building that kind of trust, it takes effort. In relationships, it's about building confidence in the other person, knowing that you have a support system, but maybe the most important part is self-trust.
Okay.
And you build that by keeping the promises you make to yourself,
Oh.
by showing up consistently, by recognizing your own strength and resilience.
So like following through on your commitments.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So this source material also lists a bunch of Bible verses. And instead of like reading them all out loud, which, might not be everyone's cup of tea,
Right.
could you maybe just sort of sum up the key takeaways?
Absolutely.
Like, what are the core principles that shine through even without that religious context?
Yeah. So one of the big themes I notice is this idea of leaning on your inner strength and wisdom.
Okay.
Like Proverbs 3.5-6 puts it really beautifully. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding in all your ways. Submit to him and he will make your path straight. And then you have Isaiah 41:10, which is this powerful reminder of our inherent worth. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
Okay.
And we also see this emphasis on the power of renewal,
Uh,
like in Lamentations 3.22223. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness.
I like that.
Yeah. And finally, Romans 8.28 offers this really profound perspective on challenges. It says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose.
Wow, when you put it like that, those verses really do become like universal life lessons almost.
Exactly. They're about resilience perspective and trusting that even difficult experiences can lead to growth.
Okay, so let's bring it back down to earth for a second.
Sure.
If we were going to translate these ideas into New Year's resolutions,
All right.
what actions could people take?
I think that's a great way to frame it.
Yeah.
So what if instead of, just focusing on external achievements this year, we all set an intention to cultivate self-awareness?
I like that.
Yeah, like take some time to really reflect on your core values, what truly matters to you. And then once you have that clarity, practice gratitude.
Oh, that's so important.
Yeah, it shifts your focus to the positive, which then influences your actions.
Absolutely.
And then don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone, learn something new.
Right.
And remember, asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength.
That's so true.
And finally, just embrace the fact that setbacks are inevitable.
Yeah.
They're not failures, they're opportunities for growth.
All right, so as we kick off this new year, it's completely normal to feel a mix of emotions, right?
Yeah.
Excitement, anxiety, uncertainty, maybe all of the above.
It comes with the territory.
But I think what this deep dive is really reminding us is that no matter what your personal beliefs are, anchoring yourself in a sense of purpose, trust, and resilience, those can be incredibly powerful tools.
Absolutely. It's about finding that inner compass,
Yeah.
that source of strength that allows you to navigate whatever comes your way.
That's a great way to put it.
Thanks.
So as we wrap up, here's a final thought for everyone to ponder.
Okay.
What would it look like for you to truly commit to your path?
Yeah.
To trust in your own ability to handle whatever this year throws at you?
I love that.
What might you achieve if you really went for it?
It's an exciting thought.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
And here's to another year of deep dives.
Cheers to that.